say it again, you've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
You've been had. And what makes matters worse is you're allowing it. A lifetime of nutritional deception has forced us into the fight for our lives. We are the Plant Based Riot. We are here to tear down that curtain of secrecy created by our very own American food industry. A plant-based diet and a disease-free life are not out of reach. Make the choice. You guys are amazing. We're not even right. Okay, yeah, you are very professional here. Mike, we're going to be asking what's coming at the farmers market this week and where we're at here, and maybe Isaac and Eric can jump in. That mic is hot. Okay, so there is a lot going on here. Obviously, you guys are hearing this. We are hosting the Long Table Community Gathering event here in the studio, in the garden, for Plant Based Riot. Tonight, we're going to be talking about what it's like having the community come together and share. It's kind of like what was the potluck, the old school potluck, the street scene, the neighborhood would come together, right? What is the future of that? What do you do? What do you do with your greens after the farmer's market? How do you pull together into a community? How do you do like the Blue Zone kind of vibe? Everybody comes together, which has been happening forever. We do want to plug our main show sponsor, Harache Farms. Harache Farms is a co-op backyard of backyard farms and gardens, providing greens and fruits available at the Atwater Village Farmers Market. Come check him out, Farmer Mike, Moringa Mike. What's new at the farmers market this weekend, Mike?
Well, for the second harvest, we'll have blue oyster mushrooms. And,
I love this. Yes,
they're huge.
That's awesome.
They're burger bun sized.
Burger bun
So come out to get them.
Did
Not
they
the
sell
little
out?
burger buns, the big
Did
ones.
anybody
They
have?
probably will sell out in about 10 to 15 minutes. So come.
Have you guys had
8
the?
a.m. if you want
Have
to
you
get
tried those? Have you seen them? Crazy.
They're beautiful.
Tried them raw, and they were
Raw.
so good.
Oh,
Oh, so
wow.
what do you do?
Okay.
You saute them, or what do you do? What do you guys do?
Yeah, you can saute them in olive oil, salt. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
I like that. Well, come check him out at the Atwater Village Farmers Market. We have Moringa Mike here. We are the Plant Based Riot, a weekly commutable length, evidence-based call to action conversation about living a disease-free life. Follow us on the Instagram at Plant Based Riot. We got a full house here, so I'm swiveling over here to read the screen. And of course, visit the Facebook page, Plant Based Riot. This episode will also be on YouTube, the audio version, at the Plant Based Riot. I'm Dan, what is now a 4-year vegan. We just crossed over that 4-year mark. Crazy, went from the barbecue world to this, and here we go. Husband, father of 3, fantastic, energetic, crazy plant-based kids, raising a ruckus wherever they go. And they help harvest these hydroponic gardens and vertical towers here that we're doing. And over here we have Mike.
Hey there, I'm Mike Wood. I'm the plant veggie hustler of the Atwater Village Farmers Market.
Hustler.
I move a lot of greens. I schlep them every week at Sunday.
He's
Atwater
moving
Village
greens.
Market, yeah. Plant scientist, father of 2 boys who are gonna soon be taller than me, and they are awesome. And they're the only reason why I do this.
I love it, and our friend Brian up north is doing his deal up there, and over here on this microphone, who do we have? Introduce yourself.
I'm Jamie. I am nobody's father, thank goodness. Could be a little awkward.
That you know of.
Yeah, right. So I'm Jamie, last name is Williams, in case anybody wants to Google me, because that's what people do now, right?
How can we find you?
How about at Get More Jamie? That usually covers everything, from Instagram to my website.
I love this. This is great, and you like the greens at the Atwater Village Farmers Market.
I do like the greens. The greens led me here. They're sort of like, you know, what do they call it, the MacGuffin or something in a movie? It's like,
Wow.
you know, it starts off and you
Hitchcock
think
on
you're
us
going
here.
one place and you end up someplace else. Yeah, I think that's the greens. Hey guys, follow the greens.
Follow the greens. Very good. Well, tonight we had a little evening with Sustaina, Team Sustaina. Isaac and Erica are here as well. You guys say hello. And wait, real quick, where can we find you guys? On Mike's mic. How do we get in touch with you?
At Sustaina World or www.sustaina.world.
I love it. I love it. So we had a little potluck long table event here in Sierra Madre at the Garden of the Sierra Madre, and we're just kind of like pulling people in and just kind of checking in and you know, wanted to run a couple of things by you. What is the future of long table events? What is the future of backyard burger kind of hangout world, and something like this, like why is bringing neighbors together important, Mike? Like, why is that such a important thing in communities?
Yeah, I think that we need connection in our lives, and like when I grew up, I kind of felt like my neighbors were like living in another country, and to me, I crave the ability to like go into someone's yard and say like, oh, I like, why are you growing this? But it's about conversations with people that are different than yourself, and about trying new things.
Right. It does feel like you're eating in a different country when you choose this lifestyle a little bit, right? Like, it's very foreign and tough to do, though getting easier, to your point, right? You just said a moment ago, like, it tastes like cardboard or junk, and now all of a sudden you can get this food anywhere.
Oh yeah,
right?
like vegan food. Well, the thing is, I'm not vegan actually, but a couple years ago I realized I couldn't have lactose, and it was very well timed for me because it just happened to coincide with food in the vegan world becoming extraordinary and going from being in this weird plateau where it tasted pretty awful. So I think that, like, to your question, I think about why it's important to get together. I think it's, these are kind of hard times, and a lot of people being very divisive. And I think that food is like something that no matter what you think and believe, that like we can all kind of rally around. And I like that, it's sort of like it prioritizes joy over being hateful. I think that's important. So I guess to the third question, since we're, just to sort of tie back into that, the question we have is community gathering and eating seem to have a correlation with the blue zone theory of communal eating together. Now, I actually grew up in a blue zone, believe it or not. I grew up in Okinawa.
You did?
I did, yeah. So this means a lot to me. So I guess the question, right, exactly. Totally. I didn't realize that as a kid. I have only discovered the value of living in that, and like I think something that's really insightful about that is not only the food, but the community and the support in the community. And I think that's a huge aspect of like why blue zones work. But the question, I guess, is can this event that we're having here tonight become the new town hall meeting, or better yet, the new Facebook?
Isaac, you reacted to this. What do you have to say about that?
So, one of the reasons why we got together tonight was to just do our monthly co-op meeting where we get all the farmers, all the homeowners, investors, local expert Mike here. We get them together and we just share a meal, talk about our harvest, talk about our goals, talk about our events, and feel like we all have our voice heard. We have a democratic platform where we can express what we want, because really, like, I feel like I work for Mike, and I feel like I work for everybody in this co-op, and we're just trying to really provide an organization that gives everybody a feeling of ownership, and that includes community, that includes access to fresh food, and it's fun just helping set up some stuff, and then seeing just magic happen with this podcast, with everybody involved and everybody coming together. And so we're just grateful for the opportunity to be a part of it.
And it's democratic as long as Mike gives a thumbs up, right? That's how it goes. Let's be real here. That's great.
I think another thing is we don't give ourselves enough credit for how much power we have at this like very close to home grassroots local level. And I think it's really comforting when you have such a disorganized and kind of unproductive, like higher federal government that's not really working for everybody, to be able to be in community at a local level and make real changes that actually affect you directly. And I think it's really important. And so I think that I've seen more and more of these spaces becoming places where people have to go. And I think it's long overdue. We've sort of become very separate. Technology has made us sort of siloed out in ways that are not really healthy, literally.
So true. And by the way, you sound amazing here. You're about to take over this podcast, so this is this is amazing. I had no idea. I tell
jokes too, but I don't want to go there.
I had no idea about this hidden talent here, by the way.
If you stay around long enough, there's a lot of hidden talents.
Lots of hidden talent here. That's very good. All right, moving right along here.
Okay, so we're going to move on to another question. Maybe someone who hasn't spoken.
Okay.
I see someone over there is eating some green leaves. It looks like grass. Can't tell. It's too dark over here.
Watercress.
Maybe you can come tell us what it is.
He's got fresh
Oh, he says watercress, fresh watercress from far.
with tahini. Get tahini on there? There's some tahini
You have
sauce down
tahini
there.
on it?
There's a little tahini on that.
It's amazing. That was
Very
your
nice.
call, right? That's good.
Little zing.
So the question...
We had good food tonight.
Oh,
by
we
the
had
way.
excellent food. Congratulations and thank you to everybody. So speaking of food culture, so it seems to be a big topic of conversation, food culture, especially in the context of farmers markets and the role that farmers markets play. So the question is, to extend that further, future grocery store, farmers market, what's the connection?
Yeah, what do you? I mean, when you go to the farmers market, you expect to get fresh things, right? And you don't really need to freeze or refrigerate things for a long duration because you're going to go to the farmers market again and again and again, right? You get fresh things that are in season that grow in your environment. Things that are not trucked in from hundreds or thousands of miles away. So
You know, like when I think of going to the store, kind of like to take a page from Michael Pollan, like people go to the store to get stored food, whether they like it or not. So like when I was a kid, the norm was to like load up on breakfast cereal and like candy and soda and chips. These are things that are not fresh and they'll keep on the shelf for
Right.
years or a decade maybe.
Sure.
But to me, the farmer's market is like a complete flip. So it's all about fresh food. And that's something you want to get frequently and you need to eat it frequently because it's not gonna stay very fresh.
it'll go bad, right?
And so like if you talk about omega-3s, those are the healthy fats that a lot of people aren't getting enough of, and those are the fats that don't last very long, right? So like when something smells fishy, it's because the omega-3s are going bad, and
I
that
see.
includes things like spinach,
Sure.
not just fish.
Right.
So I think that the farmers market is more than just getting fresh food. It's also about like seeing a person and identifying, like connecting your food with a person who's growing it, and being able to ask candid questions about it.
Well,
about
I
that
think
process.
but that's what you're saying is very unique because when I go to the Atwater Village Farmers Market and I see all the other booths that are there, which is great, there's such a great turnout, and then I go to Harache Farms, there is 2, 3, 10, 12 people deep picking up greens. I look around. Mike's booth is the only one that has a line, many, many deep, and people are coming there to buy the greens, but they're also getting a little bit of the farmer.
Sure.
People have such interesting questions that are asking. You go around to the other booths; those aren't the farmers. Those aren't the gardeners. Those are just laborers selling, doing a job. You are the one that's actually been growing, harvesting, and now selling. So you know where all the greens have come from, where all the fruits have come from, and so they're getting a really good perspective when they come. So I do know that. You're downplaying your role into that, but I think you are a very important part into that sale and why your customers are there. C Dubs. Yes, get in here, Charles. Charles Wood.
So I have a question: is that going on the fact that you're the farmer and you understand the seasonality of things? So how do you propose that you're going to go about making? You got fresh food, but watercress doesn't grow all year round.
That's right.
So how do you get it so that people get back to the seasonality of eating, your winter greens, your summer greens? Like people didn't normally eat. They eat, what was it? They eat beef in the summer. They eat chicken in the winter. I think there's like the ways that people would eat.
Interesting.
But nowadays we want to eat what we want to eat.
All year
We
long.
can get it all year round because we can get it from South America, whatever. So how do you get them? How do you teach them to get back to that?
Ooh, that's great.
Can I answer that question, actually?
Go for it.
So so this might be a reason why we should have Long Table. So like one of the things that came up was I actually work on another farm too.
Okay.
And they grew popcorn on the stalk, and I took it home and I said, hey, I was talking at the table here with everyone here, and I was like, hey, I like put this cob of corn in the microwave and turned it on, and I was eating popcorn off a cob like you would corn on the cob. And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
That is crazy.
And I pull it out, and there's really a picture of me eating popcorn off a cob. and it's really interesting because I think what we've lost is how exciting and bizarre food really is when it's coming from the plant itself. We've like removed ourselves and polished everything and put it in a box. And we miss the excitement of the experience of like pulling the carrot out of the ground or pulling the corn off the stalk and putting it into, and cooking it from the stalk in the place. And then, like there's all these things like, and that's one of the things like as I've started to do farming, I'm like, this is actually really cool. This is like something I haven't seen. This is a whole experience that's like very enjoyable.
And that's true, to Charles's point. That's being lost for the past thousands of years. That's how life was. But now we're in zone. What zone are we in?
We're in zone 10B,
which is we're very unique in America.
Well, that's the thing is that
yeah.
So I went to Ohio for college, and they had seasons.
Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio. They had fall when the leaves fell. They had winter when it was cold and it snowed sometimes. They had the spring. Everyone looked forward to spring. So here it's springtime or summer all year round.
Good.
So how do you get? It's good for growing, but how do you get people adjusted to?
Right. It's awareness to, okay, it's time for this. This doesn't grow. This does grow. You're eating sweet potatoes in the winter and, right?
Regular russet potatoes in the summer, yeah.
Right. So there's a huge awareness component that needs to be broadcast on some podcast somewhere that lets people know how to, right? Like
sometimes people say like I really want some zucchinis like in the middle of December.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just doesn't grow this time of year.
You got to go to Chile. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So
go to the store.
So
exactly.
you drive 2 miles and go to the store. Yes.
Yeah, I think that part of eating what's in season is like eating a lot of what you can grow. And being creative with a few ingredients so that you can make something really delicious. So, like, I think having the limitations of what does work throughout the year forces you to be creative enough to develop specific dishes around each thing. And so, like, what comes to mind for summertime, like, if you can't grow watercress in the summer, we grow water lentil instead in the same beds. And water lentil is typically something...
Ong choy, right?
Well, ong choy is
lentil.
another one that
Yes,
we can grow.
yes.
But water lentil, also known
Duckweed.
as duckweed.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, most people don't even consider that to be food.
Right.
Most people haven't even heard of it. But it happens to be, like, the highest source of protein of all plants. And it has like very high vitamin and mineral content. It has there are studies on it that are showing that water lentil is more nutritious than steak. So it's funny that I stumbled upon it myself, and I originally started growing it to feed fish, and I in doing so I was able to grow so much of it. I thought to myself, like, wow, this is actually like I should just try this and see how it is, and it's delicious.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, we should just be like eating this ourselves instead of feeding it to the fish.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of restaurants have been shifting a lot away from sort of having like a static menu all year and being a lot more seasonal, which I think is really interesting. I think it's kind of telling to this like story that people want to be helping the planet and not sort of like trying to extract as much as you could possibly get out of it. So that might be another space where people will slowly start to get used to the idea again that food is seasonal. It's funny. I grew up in Japan and I left for 10 years and then I went back. And when I went back, I was really shocked that I didn't remember that most of Japan is still very seasonal about the way that they eat and regional. So every region has a really specific cuisine that they're identified with. And they also have, there's just seasons where suddenly passion fruit is in season and everything in the store is in passion fruit. Passion fruit flavors like ice cream and like cookies. And you're like, where did this come from? And then it just disappears. You know, and
cool. I think that's great.
it's really funny because like I was at that point I was so used to being in America where everything was the same all the time, and to suddenly be in this place where it's like, oh yeah, we're not going to have passion fruit for more than 2 weeks this year, and then we're all going to get excited about it and wait, you know, a whole year. So I think some of it is just like it shifts when it starts to move in different parts too.
Yeah, because it's like if you have the same thing year round available to you, you can really get tired of it. And like it's no longer special anymore. You know, like, but if you have to wait for the season to arrive to get something like watercress, to me, like watercress, the flavor of watercress and the smell of watercress, it evokes memories from the previous year and the previous 5 years of growing it. And it takes, you know, a summer season for you to kind of forget a little bit about how special it is, and then we're so lucky to have it again
That's cool.
this winter and spring.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you were talking about the memories because I think culturally people come together over food, and I think we're seeing sort of this shift of people eating healthier, and it's spreading really quickly. So I guess the last question that we have here is, what do you think is the best way to pull off a successful long table?
Good food, good people, good location, good vibe. I don't know. Like, you need the space to do it, right? You need and a table.
A long table.
You need a long table.
You
to
need a
start with,
cooperative of
Do we
farmers.
do it? Can we do that
Do
one
it.
more time?
She's
What
got
do you
the
need? You need a long table.
right? Do it. There it is.
Yeah, that was worthy of that sound.
You're fitting in here quite well, by the way.
It's a spacious place.
Something like that. Yes.
There's room for everyone.
Yeah. What else do you need? You need participants. You need like people growing their own food,
You need
coming
a garden
together.
just
You need a garden.
within earshot of the table.
Yeah. Go out and cut the fresh things.
Yeah,
right?
it's true, right? We picked some strawberries here tonight.
Yes, and some watercress
Watercress.
and nasturtium. Yes, this is great. There's not much diversity. There's red potatoes, carrots, and beets that are coming in, but eventually,
Yeah.
I think it's all part of the co-op. I don't know. I mean, I think it's the future of what was restaurant turned food truck turned potluck.
Mm-hmm.
And people are coming to. I think it's great that people in a community are coming together, neighbors and friends, and everybody's in the same world. Everybody's eating the same food. Everybody's getting the same sicknesses and diseases, right? And if you're eating locally, you're cutting out what diseases are happening in various parts of the world or the country that's being trucked in to what you're doing. I don't know. That's I don't know. I know that's hard to do these days, but I think the Okinawa way of doing things, the Blue Zone way of doing things is, I don't know, right? We're at a deficit.
It was some part of it was about eating food, like a big part of it, but another part of it was about community and knowing you had a space in the community and people checking in on each other, and your sense of mental health was really tied into all those elements. It's not just one aspect of it.
And I think we're lacking that here, right?
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of at the core of the long table. I mean, food is just the thing that brings people together, but it's something larger than that.
Right, you're communicating with people and checking in. Yeah,
you're creating ritual,
smart.
you're creating memories, you're creating like life together.
Super smart. Wow, that's insightful. Didn't expect that.
I'm in a lot of communities.
You're in a lot of communities. Wow.
I would consider myself the nomadic farmer. That was the word I was looking for.
The nomadic farmer.
Nomadic?
Nomadic farmer. Oh, so are you going back to Japan anytime soon, or what's the story there?
I wish.
Were you in the family in the military?
My dad was in the military when I was
Air
a kid.
Force?
No, Marine Corps. Be
Wow.
careful what you say. Anybody in the Marine Corps might have some things to say about that. Not me, because I don't care. But and I went back again after college. I taught English.
You did?
Yeah.
Very good. I can barely speak correctly and spell, so I might need your help
My
someday.
Japanese is awful.
No, I'm talking about my English. That's very good. All I know is Ohayo gozaimasu.
That's pretty good.
Desu ne.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. I can teach you some Okinawan. If you can say, "Welcome to Okinawa," Mensore Okinawa.
Mensore Okinawa? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, how do you say long table event in Japanese?
I have no idea.
Wow. All right. Back to class we go.
I have no idea.
Mike, you got anything to add to this? Do you have anything like? I know this is kind of more of a free form flow episode here, but
Yeah, I guess.
in maybe as to what you experienced tonight. Do you have any
Sure.
like?
I mean, I'm so blown away by all the people who have come here to give support and to help grow
It was a
the
big turnout
cooperative
tonight.
farm. Yeah, it's I'm so lucky to have all these awesome people.
You're good at what you do, by the way.
Thanks. So I can't wait to see how much farther we can take this.
And what did you say you were going to bring it to the market this coming weekend? What's new? Anything? I know we're in the middle of the season. Nothing new's coming up. But what?
Come close.
Oh
for sure.
yes.
So yes.
Get ready. That's being picked tomorrow, I think.
Pick tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, like the highlights would be the watercress, the oyster mushrooms, the lettuce and bok choy. We got fresh Boston bib lettuce,
Boston bib. That's
Really great.
hydroponic Boston bib.
hydroponic, as well as bok choy.
I like that. A big bok choy too.
Yeah,
That's
bok
cool.
choy meaning white vegetable.
White
like
vegetable.
Chinese.
And Charles has. You have a pomegranate tree that something needs that we need to do something. Are we gonna?
We gotta propagate that thing.
How do we propagate? Charles has a.
You informed me that we could take. We got a lot of pots. We could just
Yeah, every time you
cut off a
prune,
whole bunch of the tree.
a pomegranate, you have essentially hundreds of cuttings of pomegranate.
So you're just taking the
make new
switch,
trees.
a stick.
You just literally. I was
A branch.
I was googling that.
Yeah.
And that's yeah.
That's how it's done.
The way I learned it is you take the base of the branch and you sort of scar it with a knife.
Okay.
So you make a slight cut from the side to
Bias
the
or
end
something? Okay.
to the end of where the branch was cut, and by wounding it a little bit, that will force the tree branch to form callus,
Okay.
which then forms root tissue.
Well-
in the presence of darkness.
We
We should
should.
do that.
So
You guys have to be the biggest grower of
We're gonna-
pomegranate.
I'm gonna
pomegranate.
20 more pomegranate trees.
it's easy to grow pomegranate. I mean, it's easy.
And they sell, right? Everybody loves them. I love pomegranate. It's like
Yeah.
this is the thing.
yeah,
Gee,
yeah.
we make some drinks with this thing.
Yeah, pomegranates are great
Liquor
for
license or
SoCal
something.
because they tolerate extreme heat, and they're pretty drought tolerant.
Cool. Do you guys have anything else to add to this long table chat here?
No, thank you for having me on.
Wow, this is.
I
bet
think you're
better
going
than
to
we
read
are.
the credits now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Radio
we
Lab
might-
where you have
we might-
people mispronounce your name.
We might cut you in. However, there's a slight deficit.
Yeah, no, it's
So thank you guys for listening. A quick heads up here. Links. Well, we didn't. I was going to say we didn't really talk about any links, but we will attach information on long table stuff in the show notes here. Brian and our producer Greg are all over this. We have more episodes coming up. Again, like we talked about, a little close to home here for myself. Why are all my friends dying? I have a few of my high school friends have passed away from cardiovascular disease, which is maybe another one of the secret pushes to get me into this kind of world. But I was actually just talking about him today, my buddy Alex, unfortunately. Love you. We are Plant Based Riot. You are making the choice to live a longer, healthier, disease-free life. Farmer Mike, what are you going to do with those extra disease-free years?
Spend some time with my kids.
There you go, man. I love that. I want that. Well, hey, plant eaters, thanks again for listening to our show on the Long Table Community Event. This show was written and recorded by the Plant Based Riot, Brian, Mike, and myself. Our program is produced by Greg Hennigan, a.k.a. the Mike Ditka of Guitar Teachers. Say hello to Greg at gregsguitarlessons.com. I'm Dan Farnham with the Plant Based Riot. We are your weekly dosage of a healthy lifestyle awareness here on the Plant Based Riot. You can follow us on Facebook at the Plant Based Riot, Instagram, and YouTube, of course, at Plant Based Riot. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the Plant Based Riot on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a few stars, a review, or tell a friend. Until next time, start growing your backyard garden. And come see Moringa Mike at the Atwater Village
Moringa
Farmers Market.
Mike.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.